We need to talk about pending home sales. Will the Fed cut or stand pat? And the latest weekly jobless numbers. Lots of data to talk about today. Let's get into it. First and foremost, let's talk existing home sales that came out today. And first and foremost, if I had my shirt swing and a miss, I would be wearing it this morning. What happened? First and foremost, sales came in at 3.95 million. I had expected them to come in below 3.88, so I was certainly off. Expectations were 3.94, and last was raised to 3.9. So existing home sales were up 1.3%. But what about the numbers behind the numbers? Well, here we go. All cash made up 27%. Last year was 26%, so up slightly. The supply of homes are up 19.8% year on year. Days on market, an important measure, is up 20%. Last year was 20 days, now 24. First-time homebuyers made up 29%. Again, as you've heard me say, the housing market is broken. The people who own existing homes, first-time entry-level homes, are not selling. First-time homebuyers typically make up 40% of the market, and again, today it is 29%. What about those crash bros and their calls for housing prices to decline? Well, not last month. Once again, we got a record at 422,600, up 4.2%. So at the end of the day, folks, it is my belief that the housing market is healing itself. What does that mean? That means more inventory, more days on market. What does it also mean? It unfortunately means that transactions are going to stay down right around 4 million. We're going to be here for a while unless something drastically changes around interest rates. Again, you can't heal this broken housing market in a week, month, quarter, or frankly, even a year. It's going to get interesting if rates start to get below 6%. My hope is we stay above 6, close to 6.5, so that we can again keep healing the housing market. We got a lot of Fed speech. Fed Collins. It is soon appropriate to begin cutting rates. Fed Hawker. Job market is now mostly normalized. I'm on board with a September rate cut if data comes in as expected. Slow and methodical approach to cuts is the way to go. Also, Hawker, I am not in the 25 or 50 basis point camp. I need more data. How about Fed President Schmid? Needs more data before supporting rate cuts. We have time to decide on rate cuts. Rates today are not overly restrictive. So again, folks, we are starting to get different talking points from different Fed members. It is going to be interesting. I do not think September is a lock. The market currently today says 66% chance of 25. 66% chance of 25 and 33% chance of 50. Again, the market is expecting a rate cut, to which I say, again, you might be hoping for too much. Weekly unemployment claims, frankly, folks, we've been talking about this for 2 years now. It is the most important measure that you and I could look at every week. Obviously, yesterday we got a huge revision to from Bureau of Labor Statistics. 818,000 jobs disappeared. Today, weekly unemployment came in at 232,000, up slightly from 4,000. Again, until we get upwards of 300,000 weekly jobless claims, it's hard to say that the economy is cracking. Again, these are some of the numbers that I think the Fed could go, you know what? We can wait one more month. Maybe if we didn't have an election this year, a September cut would make sense. But again, I think when it comes down to it, assuming the numbers don't break one way or the other, my hope is they wait till November. And then, of course, as I've said for a while, by waiting a month, you have to go 50 instead of 25. We shall see. We're going to get a lot more data tomorrow because that's when Jerome Powell speaks at Jackson Hole. I have 3 pages of notes. Let me just make sure I got everything. Oh, one more thing before we go to page 2. We got PMI readings for manufacturing in service. Remember, folks, any number below 50 is contraction and above 50 is expansion. Manufacturing came in at 48. That is down from last month's 49.6. So manufacturing is contracting. What about service? Service is up 54.1. Last was 54.3. So again, definitely still growing, but just not growing as quickly. So let's talk about something Mark Zandi had to say, and again, remind you of what we talked about yesterday on the Daily Financial News. At least I think it was yesterday. Mark Zandi says, giving buyers extra money translates into increased demand and higher prices. Yes, Mark, that is correct, I believe. He does go on to say that if you could match the dollars, the free money, to come after the supply is created, that could be a different story. Remember, I think it was yesterday, might have been the day before, where we talked about supply is inelastic and free money is elastic. That is exactly what Mark Zandi is saying. So again, that's an important word for us to understand. How about RFK Jr.? It is rumored that he'll be dropping out Friday and endorsing Trump. Not sure what you think of that, but I thought it was interesting. One thing to think about this rate cutting cycle is this time could really be different. Again, remember the last time we were on a rate cutting cycle, the dot-com crash and the 2008 Great Recession, the economy was tanking all at once. Well, if you're looking at GDP, we still have GDP expansion. We also have job growth. Although anemic, they're still positive. So maybe this rate cutting cycle is more about maintaining the restrictive nature or lack of restriction instead of an all-out recession. Could this time be different? Could a soft landing a la 1994 be possible? We did do the accountability group. Shout out Frank REI. Yesterday's accountability group inside our great school community called One Rental at a Time ran for 3 hours. They did a portfolio review, talked about a golden ticket winner, somebody who got their first deal, talked about growing a YouTube channel, and tips and tricks to get the most bang for your buck at the ORaaT event coming up. Frank and team, thank you for doing that. Love the accountability groups. We do 2 of them, one on Wednesday led by Frank and one on Sunday led by Jared. So we do have more time, right? Days on market jumped from 20 to 24. We also have this NAR settlement that went into effect last weekend. I wonder what it all means. To me, it means the buyers have more things to think about. They have to think about signing contracts just to go see homes. They also have to think about negotiating how the buying agent will get paid. What will they do? What will they get from the seller? So again, buying a home has fundamentally changed. Let's talk about the Fed minutes. Again, this is important. What was the Fed saying 6 weeks ago? Well, it looks like most of the Fed presidents were saying September is looking good for rate cuts, if the data doesn't surprise between now and then. Many of the Fed presidents were talking about the need for a July rate cut. Remember, folks, this is something we talked about earlier in the week. Will the Fed minutes highlight disagreement? Again, it was reported that all the Fed presidents voted to pause, not cut in July, but the data behind the scenes, I don't think was as certain as was led out to be. It does look like interest rates now are targeting around 6.5%. Again, I think that is a normal range. It'll be very concerning, at least from a demand perspective, if we go sub 6. I guess the last thing to talk about is we did get a couple of earnings, one from Snowflake. Again, Snowflake's had a couple of rough quarters. Did look like they beat top line and bottom line, but they did issue a slightly weaker forecast. And then finally, Zoom Video beat top line and bottom line. So at the end of the day, folks, a lot going on. The job market, based on the weekly unemployment claims, not falling apart. Pending home sales were up slightly, and certainly more than I expected, so I take the swing and a miss. I was wrong. But tomorrow's the big day. What's the Fed going to say? I hope you have an amazing day. Hopefully this noise at this port was not too bad, but I wanted to get this done for you. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.